Hi, everyone. I don't know if you read the study, but it got a lot of airplay, and it was a study done by Harvard saying, this is a dangerous thing and many women do it. So, what is the it? It is self censorship. Well, there's been a lot of self censorship because there's been a lot of kind of global censorship. So, I want to give you the key dangers of self censorship, which we're all familiar with. Mental health and emotional toll, you think? Erosion of open discourse. Listen to this one. It creates a chilling effect where fear of social, professional, or academic repercussions, i.e., cancellation, prevents the free exchange of ideas. And that's exactly what's been going on for the last 5 years. Distortion of truth and knowledge, you think? In scientific and professional fields, self censorship can lead to withholding of data, yeah, resulting in poor decision making or consensus based on incomplete information. Remember the we're following CDC guidelines. We don't have to think about it ourselves. We're just following CDC guidelines, which, by the way, have changed rather dramatically because that's how science is done. You learn more things. I once read that God reveals himself, herself, in each little bit of scientific discovery, and then we discover more, and we discover more. I was just reading yesterday about when you touch a tree, what happens in your body with the immune system and so on. So, what if you grew up and you were never told how magical a tree was? We were at a bookstore in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm down here visiting my daughter, and there was a whole section on the wonder of trees. I guess that's a safe topic, obviously. Um, Societal isolation and paranoia. Really? I have a friend who was sort of banished by his family. They would quarantine the New York Times and quarantine the groceries and stuff. Impeded personal growth. Yeah. Avoiding difficult conversations or opposing viewpoints prevents individuals from developing emotional resilience and critical thinking skills. I was at a wedding a couple weeks ago, and we were assigned seats. The person who sat down next to me was New York City astrologer Ann Ortley. And I used to listen to Ann Ortley's weekly weather all the time. I'm coming to you from my bright red desk in New York City. Ann still lives there, but she also goes to Florida too. I'd never met her, but it was so much fun. And we had some people, obviously a diverse group at the table. And we had some lawyers who didn't like what was going on politically. What Anne said that I loved, she said, listen, and I'm going to use this, so don't get triggered. I use Donald Trump's astrologic chart to teach astrology because he's bigger than life. There's a tremendous amount of optimism around, but it's also a very strong chart. So I use it to teach astrology. I thought it was a beautiful way to sort of rise above the situation so that people could talk freely without getting triggered. And it brought the table to a sort of a new level of resonance. Normalization of extremism. Have we seen any of that? When moderate voices censor themselves, it allows extreme views to become overrepresented. Really? As those who are less cautious or more isolated from consequences become the loudest voices. Well, I think we've just been through a period of that, fear of government, institutional or authority repression, professional repercussions, or fear of losing one's job. Did you hear about the class action suit from United Airlines, because they had one of the most stringent policies of putting a noose over religious freedom. And then fear of being labeled, shamed, or socially ostracized. Okay, so there's a whole book on this, right? The psychological impact of cancel culture. So, what are the steps for getting around this? And I bring this to you uh, today. And even if you're listening to this later, I want you to think back. It's March 10th, and Jupiter has just stationed to go direct. Jupiter has been retrograde for 4 months, and we've also got Mercury retrograde, but that goes direct, I believe, March 20th. And then we're going to have five planets all going direct, all the outer planets direct. It's like a tunnel, a channel, a roadway toward the future is being opened up, and it's very, very exciting. So if you have been self censoring, or if you have been censored, which I know a thing or two about, this is now a time when we can breathe easier. We just went through a big contraction, but now we're going through a big expansion. And I think the main thing is this: you don't want to self censor to yourself. That's where your power is. There are people you can't talk to. I know that. And if we say things, with love and with respect, then often we can move forward. But we have found that there are people, like I have someone in my life and I realize I can't reach out to her because I don't want to be hit